My name's Havilah, and I'm with Grow Some Good. We're in the mala today, or the garden, and we're talking about how observation in the garden and watching our plants can be such an interesting experience. I like to think that as I'm watching the plants, they're also kind of watching after me. You know, plants don't have eyes like we do, or ears like we do, or noses like we do, but I do think that they're paying attention. And if you do look closely in your garden, you might find examples of things that look kind of like they do have eyes, like they're watching you. If you look at trees or maybe some roots of plants, you can see that maybe they're looking after you. Today we're going to talk about one plant in particular that actually has something that we call eyes, and it's uala. Do you know what uala is? It's sweet potato. And we know that sweet potato can be white or purple or orange, and there's a lot of different ways that we can eat them and prepare them. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about how to plant them. So right now we're going to look at this uala plant that we've had growing in our mala. Uala, when it grows, you can see that it has these leaves that are shaped almost like arrows or hearts. And the flower of the plant is this beautiful little purple flower. So if you're trying to find uala, these are the things that you can look for. And these leaves are edible, which means that we can eat them. What we do is we can cut them, put them in a stir fry, or cook them in a soup, but you do have to cook them before you eat them. Down, if you follow the stem all the way to the soil, underneath the soil is where we find the sweet potato. It's the root of that plant. We also call it a tuber. And it looks like this. This sweet potato, you can see, is starting to grow new growth right out of something called its eye. So again, we just talked about how sweet potatoes have something called eyes. And these eyes send out the new roots or the new growth, and they come right up. And you can plant this whole thing to grow more sweet potato. And we're gonna go over and I'll show you how to do that right now. All right, follow me, let's go.
Every bug, every tree, every flower, bird and bee, everywhere.
Since we have all this new growth coming up from the side, we want that to be above the soil, where it's going to get the sunlight, and we're going to bury the sweet potato under the soil. And all these eyes are going to sprout new roots and grow more sweet potato underground. What we need is a good spot in our garden that has really healthy soil, a trowel or a small shovel, and a good pair of garden gloves. So as we're getting ready to plant, we want to make sure first to dig our hole, because it's going to need to be buried pretty deeply to allow those roots to spread out. So I'm going to take my trowel and I'm going to dig myself a hole into our soil here. Once my hole is deep enough, I'm going to take the entire sweet potato and just place it right in there, like a seed. As I cover it up, I want to be sure that my top is up above the soil again so that it's getting all that sunlight so it can photosynthesize.
The earth has eyes. The earth has eyes. The earth has eyes. The earth has eyes.
So we just talked about how to plant an uala if you have the sweet potato that has new growth. But what if you don't have the sweet potato that has all these new stems and leaves? Well, you can still grow uala just by taking a cutting of the leaves. So if you have a neighbor or a friend that's growing sweet potato, you can also go over and just take a portion of the leaves to plant. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. All you'll need is a pair of garden clippers, which your parents can help you with, and you need to find the end of the plant where it's growing at the very end, and you'll go ahead and you'll take a small cutting where all the new leaves are coming out. And each one of these where the leaves are coming out is called a node. And if you remove some of those leaves, they will actually start to root once you put this plant into soil. So all you need to do is get a cutting of a sweet potato plant, and then you'll place that cutting into the soil and it will start growing brand new uala. This is a great example of growing uala that way. We started this plant about 6 months ago with just one small cutting, and you can see now how it's filled out this entire container. And here under the soil is where we're going to have all the new tubers and sweet potatoes growing, and when they're ready to harvest, we can cut some more slips to transplant again.
Feeling pride, being strong. The land is saying we belong. Watch and listen, hear her song. The earth has eyes.
So now that we have our slip, which is what this part is called once we've taken the cutting, we can go ahead and plant it. All we have to do is put a small space into our soil, lie it flat so that the leaves are still facing up towards the sun, and cover it. And then what we need to do is water it the same way we did the other. And that stem that has those nodes, it's going to start sending out those new roots, and those new roots will form the tubers or the sweet potatoes.
The sun is warm and the rain is cool. Her gifts are free, she's here for you. The earth is kind, we should be too.
After we've planted our sweet potato in the ground, we do want to make sure to come back and check on it every once in a while. As we observe our plant and its growth, we want to be making sure that it's looking healthy and happy, that it's getting enough sun and enough water, and maybe also make sure that it's not getting attacked by any pests or bugs. As you observe your plant, you're going to make sure that it's healthy so that once you harvest it to eat, it takes care of you and make sure that you're healthy too.